You've tuned in to Books, Business, and Beyond, the show that teaches you how to maximize your income from your book to create the lifestyle you want. Now here's your host, the book ninja who loves dark chocolate and piles of sand between her toes, Kristen Eckstein, and her partner in success, Shelley Hitz.
Hey everybody, it is Kristen Joy here with my co-host Shelley Hitz again with booksbusinessandbeyond.com, the podcast. And today we have another amazing special guest. A couple weeks ago, you heard from her husband, Brent Parkhill. So if you have not checked out that episode about healthy writing, definitely look 2 episodes back and grab that one. And today we've got the amazing Felicia Slattery with us because she totally freaking rocks, and she's one of my best BFFs. We go back many years. Let's just say a lot of years. We met on Twitter. And we spoke over the phone once before we met in person at Bob the Teacher's event. And she is actually my speaking coach. So all the words that come out of my mouth, I can attribute to my mouth not knowing how to shut up and Felicia coaching me on what to say when.
I'm only responsible for the good words. The other ones I'm not responsible for those.
This is true. So anyway, today we want to talk about the number one best way to market your book and yourself, because as an author, you're not just marketing your product, but you're also marketing yourself and your own expertise. If you write nonfiction, your own self as a celebrity, if you're writing fiction. So what is this number one secret? Let's just throw it out there. What is the number one best way to market your book and yourself?
Well, given that I'm a speech coach, it's not really going to be a surprise.
You think?
That I'm going to say speaking about your book really is absolutely the best way. And here's the thing, because there are a whole bunch of different platforms on which you can speak and how you can speak that actually help you build your platform. So a lot of times people think of speaking and they think, oh, well, that means I have to be paid to be standing in front of a live audience. And that is definitely one way, but there are lots and lots of different ways that you can speak to market your business. You could do webinars that you do yourself, so nobody has to host you, or you can get a host. You can be interviewed on podcasts.
Ding, ding, ding.
Hello. You could do videos. All right. And all of these ways are you talking about your book. That's why it's so powerful. And because people love authors. And when they love their authors and they love what they're reading, they want to connect with you as an author on a deeper level. And when they get to hear your voice or see you in person, that just one-ups it even more. Folks get really excited about that. So, and you build a relationship with them. And that's what enables you not only to sell more books, but also sell more products and services if you're a nonfiction author.
That's awesome. I know that to be true myself, but what if, I'm scared. Okay, I'm not, guys, but what if I'm a new author? I've never spoken to anyone about my book before except for my dog or my cat. And I'm just scared to put myself out there because people aren't going to like me.
Well,
or some other weird reason.
I think you also recently had our mutual friend Therese on. Therese?
Yes.
Sparkins. And that's really a mind thing more than anything else. Because the truth is you have talked about your book, even if all you have is a cat and a friend. Right? Because as authors, we're crazy excited about our books and our content. I mean, if you're a parent, you know what it's like to give birth. And if you're not a parent but you are an author, you also know what it's like to give birth because, our books are our babies. And so we're excited about those things. So I'm going to challenge, first of all, that thought that, well, I've never talked about my book, because you probably have. You've probably told people just in passing or in conversation or at a networking meeting or even at a family get together that, what are you doing now? Oh, well, I'm writing a book. You're writing a book. Tell us about the book. So you have probably talked about your book. So number one, let's check what's going on in your mind. Yes, you probably have uttered words to other people about your book. So you're already further ahead of the game than you thought. But if you're scared, if you're nervous, if you are concerned about getting in front of people and doing it, quote unquote, officially, you can start a little bit more anonymously behind a screen. Do it on a webinar so that people can't see you sweat, so to speak, right? And it's a little bit easier to do it that way, or do it as a podcast interview or a blog talk radio show or something like that where it's more virtual. And then and you may still be feeling nervous, and maybe your first chance that you get to speak about your book will be live and in person. So there's a few things you can do. All of this, again, is around mindset. And one of the things, and by the way, I used to teach Public Speaking 101 at the community college. I did that for more than a dozen years. So trust me, I know people who are scared to speak, and I help them get past that. And you do it by three things. Number one is, first of all, practice and prepare, and practice some more. When you practice, when you prepare, what happens is something comes over your body. Your tongue and your mouth are all made of muscles, right? And our body has something called muscle memory. I don't know if my husband talked to you all about that, if you heard that interview, but muscle memory is something that kind of takes over. And if you've done something a bunch of times, your body goes, oh, we've done this before, and it snaps back into that mode. That's why professional athletes still practice. They're still practicing because why? They know that the more they do this, the better they get at it. And the better they get at it, the easier it's going to be when they're under pressure in the moment. So we're not professional athletes, but guess what? We can do the same kind of thing. So practice and prepare. That muscle memory will take over. That's number one. Number two is visualize very powerfully. This is another thing that professional athletes do. I've actually worked with past Olympic medalists, which is so cool. I know. And
I just got goosebumps. Maybe that's because I just got cold.
Put on some socks, girl. Anyways, and one of the things that elite athletes also do, in addition to practicing, is that they visualize themselves going through whatever their routine is, whatever their game is, whatever their match is, whatever. They visualize themselves doing the perfect golf swing, doing the perfect, hitting the tennis ball and doing the perfect serve. Again, whatever the case may be, you can do the same thing. Visualize yourself feeling calm, feeling confident, feeling comfortable. Visualize yourself going through your entire presentation that you've prepared, that you've practiced, and visualize it in a powerful level. Bring in, if you're going to be in a bookstore, what does the bookstore look like? Visualize the books around. Does the bookstore have a coffee house? Then maybe, inside the bookstore there at that coffee house, you're going to smell the aroma of the coffee. Maybe you're going to be hearing the cash registers dinging in the background. So use all of your senses in your visualization. That will really make a huge difference. And then finally, the third thing is even professionals get nervous. And for me, when I get nervous, I'm going to dramatically take a drink of water now. My mouth gets dry and my lips kind of stick to my teeth. So I know when I'm nervous, my mouth's going to be dry. And so I always, every interview, every time I'm on stage, everywhere I go, I always have my bottle of water. Cheers. We just cheers a plastic bottle. So you could hear
with the glass.
But we cheers. And so you want to be ready for how your body reacts, because the thing is, you can prepare, you can visualize. That's going to diminish it. It's going to diminish those nerves, but they're not going to totally go away. And anybody who tells you that, they're lying to you. I've been speaking for more than 30 years in front of audiences of hundreds of people, and I still get nervous on certain occasions, not every single time, but on certain occasions. So I always have my water ready. How's your body going to react? Know how that is, and be ready to deal with it.
Those are some great tips. And I agree. I've been speaking for a long time, and the more I practice, the more I do it, the easier it becomes, but I still get nervous. And for me, I know I need to go to the bathroom and clear out everything, because it never fails. My body wants to go to the, I have to rush to the bathroom. And, so you have to know yourself, know your body. I always have water with me. Those are some really, really great tips. Wait,
Shelly, I have to tell you this.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is going to make the final cut or not, but So if you ever have to feel like, or we have a puppy dog, and when she has to go outside, we say you have to wheedle. So if you ever have to wheedle when you're doing your speech, always have a group activity planned that you can pull out of your back pocket. Because I have lived in the room when I've done this, because I'll drink so much water, especially at like a multi-day event. I'll be drinking so much water, and I'm seriously, I got to pee so bad, and I'm like only halfway through, and I'm thinking, you know what? Guess what? Group activity.
There you go.
Elves, you do that. I'll be back in a moment.
She goes
Literally
running
down the hall, run back in, washed my hands, good to go. How was everybody? Was it good? Share with me what happens.
And most of the people didn't even know you left the room.
They don't even know. You don't have to run. You can step down and kind of wander around a little bit, and then nonchalantly just step out in the hall and go down the hall. Do what you got to do, get back. So I'm just saying, there you go.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I think that is part of being prepared. You know, being prepared for those situations, and I love it. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket.
Plus, interaction with audiences and group stuff, audiences love that. So for everybody who's speaking, you always want to be thinking like, well, how can I involve my audience? How can I have them interact? It's a little bit harder to do, obviously, virtually than it is to do live. But there's always a way that you can have audience interaction.
So cool. So Felicia has actually something that is going to really help us, because one of the ways that you can get speaking gigs and interviews is you got to have something to send the people about yourself, right? You got to have at least a piece of paper or a PDF to introduce to the host or the event planner what you're all about, what your book is about, so that they know they want you on their stage, or virtual or physical. So Felicia's actually put together something just for me, because I got on my knees and begged. She has these things called speaker one sheets, which are awesome, but I wanted her to customize them for authors, because authors have two different kinds of one sheets. Author one sheets, where you as an expert author, and book one sheets, where it's all about your book that you can send to media, PR, things like that. So tell us a little bit about what these one sheets are, and I'll tell them where they can get them.
Okay. So by the way, regardless of what you do for a living, this is what I have learned. People love tools. And when you can make folks' lives easier by giving them some kind of tool, you'll get rich. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. So figure out whatever it is that you do, whatever you write about, whatever your area of expertise is, what kind of tool can you create in addition to your book or a workbook that really is going to help folks. And that's kind of what I did with these one sheets, was I kind of put my thinking cap on, and I had so many people asking me, like, I need a one sheet, because they know, like, I got to get out in front of folks, and I need to have something to send, and I want something that looks nice on my website. And I don't necessarily have a ton of time to pay a professional graphic designer to do this for me. Or even if I did have the money or the time, I don't really know what goes on these things anyway. And so that's why I developed them for speakers. And Kristen's like, well, these are good, but there's not space for both an author picture and a book on all of them. And I said, can you do them for authors? I said, well, okay. So I've actually been working with an expert who's worked in the publishing field for a lot of years. In fact, I was just speaking with him this morning, and he was sharing with me some specifics around what need to go in author one sheets to make sure that all of the bases are covered. Because like Kristen said, there's a couple different kinds. There's the general one sheet that you'll put on your website, and when a radio interviewer says, oh, can you send me information about your book? You can send them that kind of thing. It's more of a promotional tool. Then there's the one that publishers will put together that is more for the business side of things, as opposed to the promotional thing and the platform building thing. And it's got some of the nitty gritty information on there about the book, the ISBN and the page numbers and all that stuff that I didn't even realize before I started to research that all that stuff needed to be on one of those one sheets that some of the big folks in the publishing world really want to see. So if you want to up your game as an author, even if you're self-published, you want to have these tools that make you look like a pro. And that's what a one sheet does, is it makes you look like a true professional. Like, all right, I'm serious about what I got going on here. And the cool thing about the one sheets, that I think Shelley, because Shelley was one of my first customers, will tell you is you can use these things for all kinds of stuff. You can use them as flyers, and you can use them as direct mail pieces. I mean, the sky is the limit once you have it, because it's a template that you can play with, and you can make your own colors on it, and you can change fonts if you want to change fonts.
It's actually a PowerPoint template.
Yeah.
So it's crazy easy for most people to use. I mean, you can open it in PowerPoint or Keynote on Mac, or whatever the open office version is.
And don't panic if you just heard, PowerPoint or Keynote and you've never used any of those, because if you can use like a Word document and you know how to change a font in a Word document, then you can do it on the PowerPoint thing. We just use PowerPoint. So because most people have that somewhere on their computer, or if you're a Mac person, you've got Keynote on your computer already. So you can, we just wanted to make it as easy as possible so that you didn't have to go out and buy editing software, one of the Adobe things or Photoshop or something. Like, good grief.
And what and what I love is you can, I got mine done, I think within an hour, the first one, because I customized some colors and all of that. But then once I have it done, I could change it, and I did. I changed it at least once already, and it was literally within minutes, because I had everything set up the way I wanted, and I could change it, and I could create a new one, and I put it on my speaking page. It's very professional. It gives something for event planners to see. But what I love, it's like you can always be prepared. As an author, you never know when you're going to get that call, or you're going to get that person that says, "Hey, can I interview you? Can you come down to the newspaper, or can we do this with you or that?" And you may get a chance for media publicity, but you want to be prepared. You want to have these things ready for those opportunities. And so I just love that you can have this. It's easy to put together. It's easy to do. And then you can always be ready. And I love the illustration, because I'm an Ohio State Buckeyes fan, and they just won the national championship with with their third string quarterback. And I'm like, I'm going to use this illustration, because as authors, you never know when you're going to get called up. You never know when someone's guest is going to cancel, and they're going to say, "Who else can we get?" "Oh, I'm going to call, Shelley. I'm going to call Felicia or Kristen." And you want to be prepared. So that's what I love about this, is it makes you prepared for any opportunity that could come your way.
You know what, Shelley, I have to tell you something else too. That's super cool. So I was searching online for one sheets today. I don't, whatever I was searching for. And I was in the images searching for, and I wrote author one sheets. Guess whose one sheet came up like in the top 2 rows? Shelley Hits.
Woo, woo.
People who understand what that means, you get search engine. When people are looking for authors and they go to Google and they type in information about authors, author one sheets, there's a very good chance that if you save this the way that I show you to save it in the program, that your one sheet's gonna show up. I'm just saying. That's a good thing for you, because it's Google juice is what we call it in internet marketing land. Google juice.
We love Google juice. So go to booksbusinessandbeyond.com/one sheet. That's ONESHEET. Booksbusinessandbeyond.com/one sheet to go check out those author one sheets and up your game as an author. And Shelley, how much time do we have left for today? We have time for one more tip?
We have about 2 minutes, so yeah.
All right. So one more tip from Felicia on how an author can use speaking to really step up in the world and be just dynamic on stage. Like, what's something on stage? Let's say they get an invitation to speak at an event, and they are the expert for that event, like something like NAMS. And what can they do on the stage to really present themselves well?
Okay. 2 things. Number 1, you've got to stand out to be different. And so the way you stand out to be different is, and I hope you've done this with your book, or if your book isn't quite done yet, speaking is a fantastic way to help you get the book done, because you write your script for your speech, and then guess what? Boom, you're on your way. The book's almost there. So that's just a little side tip. But on stage, you want to stand out. And how you stand out is you share your own unique perspective. So my most recent bestseller is called Kill the Elevator Speech, Stop Selling, Start Connecting. So And that's completely contrary to typical business advice where people say, oh, everybody has to have an elevator speech. So it makes people go, oh, that's a different perspective. So that's one. Another way is to have your own system and present your own system. And then the third way is come up with an acronym and use that acronym to describe something. So that's how you can stand out. And then the second thing is, please don't ever start any speech that you ever give with, hi, my name is, because the audience really doesn't care. So start with an attention getter, start with something interesting, start with a quotation, start with a stunt, start with a rhetorical question, start in a way that makes the audience sit up and go, ooh, this is going to be cool. I want to hear more from you because you're awesome. So those are some tips to help you on stage.
Awesome. Thank you, Felicia, for being here today. Everyone go to booksbusinessandbeyond.com/ONESHEET. That's spelling out one sheet to check out her author one sheets. And we're delighted to have you today.
Thanks so much for having me, ladies. It was fun to be here.
Great. And tune in next week for The Power of Collaboration, where Shelley and I are going to discuss our own tips on how to collaborate rather than compete with your so-called competition.
You've been listening to Books, Business, and Beyond, the show that teaches you how to maximize your income from your book to create the lifestyle you want. Visit your host, Kristen the Book Ninja Eckstein, and her partner in success, Shelley Hitz, at booksbusinessandbeyond.com and grab your free gift today. Tune in next time for more ways to diversify your income beyond the book, and don't miss a single episode. Subscribe to this podcast on iTunes.